This episode of Gamescast is brought to you by Movement Watches. Movement was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. Greg gets all fancy for his fancy dates with Jen St. Ange Miller, and guess what? He's never late. Why? Movement Watches. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman and retail markup, providing the best possible price. We're talking classic design, quality construction, styled minimalism. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movementwatches.com/kinda. That's MVMTwatches.com/kinda. It's going to be a good time. You're going to want to see these watches. You're going to want them on your wrist. Go to movement.com/kinda. Join the movement. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 125 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Buongiorno, DiGiorno. Take the pizza, shove it up your ass, Tim.
Oh, Greg.
Ooh, Thursday. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Kind of funny.
Jesus. And joining us for the first time on this show, Mike Double D Doherty.
What's up, players? It's your boy.
You might know him from Chipped Tooth Gaming over on YouTube, or you might know him as the punk ass motherfucker that called me out in Crash Bandicoot.
And won. I am.
And you did win at Crash Team at Kind of Funny Live 3.
did.
But originally you called me out just on the internet, on Twitter.
Yeah, I
and
got
you
loud.
were just a normal dude. You look like you now. You know, you're talking
Just
like,
a
hey,
normal,
you know what?
everyday Greg Miller
Hey,
knockoff.
Gettys, you should race me.
You
I'm
should
better
race
than
me.
you.
Like, I think you're, not that good at Crash Bandicoot and Crash Team Racing. It's all good. And then, like, a day later,
I mean, you lost the Chumble one.
Well, that is true. That is true. Then you respond the next day with the most up in the ante video I've ever seen of you in your best Greg Miller cosplay.
Thank you.
Just talking mad shit. And I'm like, I like this kid.
As Mike Doherty does, take it up to level 1, and then you just jump right to 10.
Just
Throw
jump
him
to
off.
10. I love it. And you did it. And I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I have an idea for Kind of Funny Live. Don't know it's going to work. This is back in January. So we were well away from it at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, if we do this Nintendo World Championship thing that I wanted to do, we're making it happen. When that got confirmed, I'm like, got to reach out to the kid.
Sure.
We got to make this shit
Double
happen.
D, Sean Doherty.
And then I
Shannon.
DM'd you on Twitter. And you were taking a test at that time.
So, yeah, you did. Funny story about that. I almost died. Literally died the day you called me. That you sent me this. A week before I went on vacation.
Kids with our body type have heart conditions.
Oh, got it.
Not yet.
Excitement.
Give me a couple years on that one. No, I was actually going home. I am originally from the Inland Empire, and I was driving back home to go to Disneyland with
God.
my
Where Nick's
family.
from?
Yeah, I was going to Disneyland with my family before my niece's birthday.
yeah.
And I didn't eat anything that day when I started driving, and I didn't drink anything that day. And I passed, my body passed out on the road, and I went almost under a semi.
That's not good.
No, it wasn't. And then it was just a crazy come to Jesus moment. I
should
get
eat.
home. Yeah, well that's usually my answer for things too. Anyway. But I got back into Hayward in the Bay Area, and you hit me up on Twitter, and I was like, God, sorry.
Kevin's yelling at me,
that.
so you just got to remember, just do this thing. Just do this thing.
But I got back into the Bay Area, and that's when you hit me up. I was like, this is unbelievable.
It's a sign.
Yeah,
Because
it's
your
a sign.
friend was talking shit.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the podcast. I saw there's no way Tim Getty's getting back to you. No way.
KB, shout out to KB.
Yeah, shout out to KB. You're a fucking idiot.
Piece of shit.
And I appreciate
Dead to me.
that. So we're joining ourselves today to talk about something very special, near and dear to both of our
Now,
hearts. And that
real
is Crash
quick, we need to
Bandicoot.
point out the fact that he's here because he supported us on Patreon.
He did.
.com/Kind
I was
of
gonna
Funny
get to that.
Games.
There was more rigmarole.
I just want to
there.
make sure everybody knows.
Yeah,
Let's
no.
not just make a video insulting Tim, because trust me, we'd have hundreds of
Hundreds of people being on
lined
the
up
show.
to be on it.
Yeah, no, you supported us on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
I did.
Just like so many other people can do and watch live as we record the show.
For $1.
For just $1. You supported a lot more
Costs
than
more than
$1
$1
I-
to
to be
Yeah.
on the show. And
Now,
so
did you-
far, has the experience been worth it?
Yes, it has. This is
The
unbelievable.
shitty Outback that you didn't get your macaroni and cheese?
Hey, it's not even about that. It's the connections I'm making. It's
Hell
good,
yeah,
guys.
man.
My question is, how can a 12-year-old like yourself afford enough to come on this show?
Well, there's this thing called financial aid.
They just cut you the check. They don't pay attention to what you do with it.
The government
just got
I
flagged.
like you, dude. You're fucking making the moves and shit. So this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together, talk about video games, all the things we love about them, and all of that. You can get it early by going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, and at the $1 or above level, you get to watch it live. Or for $5 or $10, you can get the either audio or video version ad-free.
Ad-free.
So that's exciting.
Nothing about a shoe in there.
No shoes there.
Yeah.
No shoes at all.
But if you want the shoes, you can go get the shoes.
If you want the shoes, you can just wait till the next week and get them on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. What you guys been playing? Greg?
A lot of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and how's it going
can't
for you?
stop.
Are the servers better yet?
Well, now that's a loaded question.
Here we go.
Yes, the servers are better, but then this weekend, of course, was the old double XP. You know what I mean? Because the servers had been so bad at launch. So when that happened, so many people came back, the servers went back to being shitty. And it was troublesome for a while, just for a little bit on that Friday. Then it all righted and it was great and we were all playing. Except for the fact that if you didn't update your PlayStation 4 with the optional firmware, that was crashing if you were joining games that weren't involved. But other than that, we were fine. It was good. And the double XP went real well. I unlocked some stuff. Trophies are still garbage. Still playing it.
I appreciate you because every once in a while it sounds like you're crying, but you're not.
I'm usually mid-burp.
Out and you're
I'm mid-burp and I don't want to stop.
But then there's sometimes where you just start crying and I'm just like, I thought that was just a burp.
But I don't understand why. I think I telegraph a cry. Am I going to cry
how
about
you telegraph
Am I
it.
going to cry
It's
in
a
the
laugh
middle of a
cry.
Friday 13th?
Honestly, I don't know what you
Good point.
I
That's
don't
a great
know.
point.
Miller
That's
is
a
a
great point.
psychopath.
Sorry, not to interrupt you.
So yeah, more Friday 13th. Serve issues are better. I wasn't expecting this. You caught me off guard. I'm still getting used to the new show.
Yeah.
In terms of like we're gonna do this stuff. So
The
I'm
new
opening-
Gamescast, the all new Gamescast, as I refer to it, but we're not calling it that. It's just there's segments now. The first segment is what are we playing?
Sure.
Then eventually there's this week in gaming history. Then we got the topic of the show. Then we got some listener questions. There's some other segments I'm gonna throw in there whenever the hell I feel like.
Sure. I played more. I played Next Machina since we last talked. A big fan. Enjoy it. I want to get back to it. It's just arcade. You know, it's Housemarque playthrough, twin stick shooters. All right, this is fun. It's pretty. It's cool. It's one I think I could get better at. I'm pretty good already, but I think I can get a lot better at it. I'd like to get back to it at some point. Tried Dead by Daylight during our stream when Friday the 13th wouldn't work. Man, I did not like that.
Really?
No. I was having a bad experience. I only played one match of it, but I played 2 or 3 matches at RTX last year or
Let's Play
Australia
Live.
Let's Play Live, whatever. I've played it before. It's fine. Not my kind of game, which is weird because Friday the 13th is.
Do you think-
But this game is doing the problem where it's too there's too much going on in it, whereas Friday the 13th is jump in and play. You figure it out pretty quick.
Got it, okay.
There's not that many options in terms of characters and worries.
But
Do you think that's
servers-
because you played Friday the 13th first?
Well, no, technically I played Dead by Daylight first.
But I mean, like when you like really playing it, not just you're in front of an audience now play a game for the first time situation.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. Of more, it's just the fact that I think Friday the 13th walks that multiplayer balance I like Left 4 Dead, where it is like just jump in, play, you're gonna have a good time. You don't need to worry about am I the right class? What is this character's buff versus that thing? Blah blah. Because even like Friday the 13th has the counselors all have different things, but at a glance you figure that out in a second. And then the Jasons have different pros and cons, but again, they're not that drastically different where you're gonna fuck everything up and screw it up. I played that Crash, but I know we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Started on Oceanhorn on the PlayStation Vita. I was one of the people, as you know, Double D, waving the flag for the Oceanhorn when it came to PlayStation 4 and caught me off guard. And I was like, motherfucker, Zelda is on PlayStation 4 now with trophies. This is great. And then the developers were like, oh, they saw people talking about it, like, what if we put it on Vita? And we were all like, yeah. And I stopped playing on PlayStation 4. So now going to Missouri for 4th of July and straight from there to RTX, Oceanhorn's going to be on the Vita, ready to go over there. Then, I don't know if you've caught on lately, there's been a big breakout, a flare up in the Platinum Trophy addiction. I got my Platinum in Mr. Masagi. Took me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something to that effect. I started in on the Energy Cycle Platinum, which again is like 20 minutes. I was doing it here through a remote play when you guys were doing some video I was waiting for, but then you guys finished up too early, so I had to come out here. I have to complete that, because right now it's embarrassing to see 32% of Energy Cycle trophies. You know what I mean?
I know
Nobody
what you
wants
mean.
that.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody
wants that.
Are you
crap
one of
there.
these trophy people?
I am, but not to that extent. If in similar Greg Miller fashion, that's my highest compliment I could give to a game. So if I really like a game, I'm gonna platinum it. Or if it's like easy and I'm enjoying it, then I'm gonna go for it.
But okay, but I
But
mean, would
that's
you
a
go
step
out
too
of
far.
your? You're
No.
not going to go out of your way
That's a
just
step
because
too
there's
far.
an easy platinum.
Yeah, that's a
You're not
step
gonna
too
go.
far.
You're not gonna spend
I'm not
20,
gonna get that
15
Taco
minutes.
Master Platinum though.
Oh come on! Taco Master was a good game. Let's not knock that.
I don't know. I can't
Now, is
Played it.
5-star, 1,000, whatever the fuck it's a good game? No. But is it going to be an easy platinum? Yes, so I'll do it. There's YouTube videos that just have how many ups and downs and rights and lefts I have to do to get it. I'm all in. I got to do it.
Jesus.
Now, am I part of the problem? No, because there is no problem. The problem is PlayStation not having clear rules. If PlayStation publishes it, it's fine. If they take it down for no reason, then I got a problem with them.
Yeah, didn't they take down a game?
They did. This is the top rated one, 5-star, 1,000 top rated. Went down. We talked about it on the Games Daily Show today or whatever. And just the fact of they took it down, and the developer says they took it down and asked us to take out references to the Platinum Trophy in our description and our website, which is promoting the 4K backgrounds we do.
The name is also clickbait as fuck.
Sure, of course. 5-star, top rated, or 1,000 top rated. Yeah, you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? Oh, I pay 98 cents and I get a platinum trophy. Great.
Is there no gatekeeper?
No,
do they just let everything fly by into the PlayStation
you see that Black Tiger game? Yeah, of course they do, and that's the issue of like, what the fuck's going on over there? And this is the long debate we had today of like, it's weird that they made them take it down and change it because okay, did their description violate the terms of service? And then like when they resubmit it now, it's still just the same game. It's still the same problem, right? It just has a different description. Are they going to put it back up? How are they going to play this?
They heard
We'll have
Greg
to
Miller
see.
talk about
We'll
it.
see.
Double D, what have you been playing besides the Bandicoot?
Besides the Bandicoot, I've jumped back into Gravity Rush 2, actually.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was a big fan of Gravity Rush on the PS Vita.
So
and
why'd you get distracted on your Gravity Rush 2 playthrough originally?
Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, life. I think it was in the cellophane for like the first month that I had it. I was
Sure.
like, why did I spend this money?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then jump back into it. It's fun, more Gravity Rush, like you've been saying.
Yeah.
But I just like being able to fly around and collect things and collect the gems and grind it out. Just something I could put on a podcast and play. On top of that, the Wipeout collection. I got a big fan of those games. I originally played 2048 on the PS Vita. It's another game that I could just put in the earphones and just kind of tune out. And
Wipeout just never felt right to me. It always feels a little too floaty, and I don't like how it feels like you're controlling with the back of the craft.
You're like fishtailing.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
That's what I like
I'm an
about it.
F-Zero dude.
I like racers, but I don't like realistic racers. So if it's a kart racer or like something like a Wipeout, I'll play it. Like I have a ton of fun with those games.
You know a racer we haven't seen in a while? Ridge Racer. I love
Ridge Racer.
Big fan of Ridge Racer because the drift mechanics, like it's so ridiculous bullshit, and I'm into it because it's fun to just drift around and like just feel like you're in control, even though I know I'm not doing well at all. Playing Gran Turismo, it's like, oh no,
Yeah, no, I
am
can't
the
do
bad
that.
driver.
Yeah.
and it's like, all right, at least it's accurate.
Yeah, no. Shout out to Kazurai.
Yeah, of course. What up,
Yes.
Kaz?
Our dude.
Good job on Sony. The B moved at the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming in the
Yep.
credits. I was like, oh, they're still fucking doing
Still
that.
doing
huh?
it.
All right,
Still-
Sony.
I like that the movie started off with the Sony and the little ding, like the Sony like chime. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that in a movie before. Maybe I just haven't paid attention.
I don't.
noticed.
Sony ain't putting on the movies, you know.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right. That's true. What else you been playing?
That's about it for my channel. We do a lot of Let's Plays.
I've heard of these.
Yeah, so we've been jumping into Towerfall, which I haven't played before until then.
Yeah, it's
Really
good
fun.
stuff,
I should have
right?
listened to you guys a lot earlier.
Should have.
So like push me, pull you. You know, the typical party games, the typical achievement
Let's
hunter,
Play
Let's
games,
Play
yeah.
games. Yeah. So other than that, that's about it.
Cool. So let's get right into the real beef of the matter here.
The Bandicoot saved.
The good
Crash
beef.
Bandicoot.
We put him up here. Timed it perfectly. There he is. Crash.
Not true. Not true
Crash
at all.
tearing it up right there.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy comes out tomorrow for the people watching live right now. For everyone else, it is out already.
The Bandicoot saved. You guys
go
did it.
buy it. You can go save them even more. $40 on the PlayStation 4. Will it come to other systems eventually? Who the fuck knows?
It is.
Probably. We'll see. We'll see. I put some money on it that it would.
It doesn't even have the little only on PlayStation.
I
thing
know
up in the
that's the thing. That's what's so weird about it. But in the credits, there's a lot of Sony specific credits. But the thing is, that happened with Rise of the Tomb Raider as well. There's a lot of Microsoft specific credits, and those are in the PlayStation 1 as well. So
Interesting.
I don't know, but all of us have played some level of this game.
Sure.
Let's go around. I'll start off. I beat 2, beat 3, played through 3/5 of the first one. The reason I didn't beat the first one is I didn't prioritize it because I had beat the first one 2 years ago on my birthday when we did that stream. So I'm familiar enough. I got far enough, and I knew I was going to run out of time. I'm like, I want to play through 2 and 3. How far did you get?
I've beat every single one. I'm on the way for a platinum on Crash 1 and Crash 2. Warped, I kind of blew through it because I finished that like 2 days ago. But other than that, on platinum track for all 3 games.
Hell yeah. And Greg Miller.
Platinum all 3 of them. Oh, fuck.
That's how you piece of shit. You're always topping me.
No. I played. A few. Not enough. I knew you two were here to carry the load. You know that I'm not a Crash fan. So my story went that this weekend I was playing Friday the 13th. Because I can't stop and something's wrong with me. I have decided, I think what I'm going to have to do, a date to be announced, but with enough time before Everybody Golf, before Uncharted, and before Patapon, wherever the fuck that's coming out. I need to say, I am done playing any other game but Persona 5 until I beat Persona 5. And I'm going to have to just fucking do it.
You're not going to do it.
I have to. There's no other way I'll ever get to I'll get through Persona 5. I'll bet you money right now, cheeks.
Well, what's the timeline we're looking at here?
Well, I'm saying, I don't know, at some point I got to say that I'm going to do it and I'll do it.
I bet you don't beat it this year.
Oh, sure, okay. In the
Let's do a pizza bet.
Pizza bet. All right, great, cool. I like the way you think. I will definitely beat Persona 5 before the end of the year. And my reason being is I started doing the whole thing of like, oh man, we gotta start worrying about Game of the Year and like voting and all that shit. And if I don't, I gotta just fucking commit. I gotta just sit down and fucking do it. And
We'll see.
We will.
You're a busy man, Greg Miller.
We will,
You have
I
a
know.
wife,
All right, stop trying to get in my head about it. Jesus, god damn.
a family.
He watches too much of our content.
I like it a lot.
No, and then I was like, I'm either gonna play Arizona Sunshine on VR, or I'm gonna play Crash Bandicoot here and get going on that. And I was like, all right. Jen was next to me playing ARMS because she's obsessed and now MLG'd ARMS. And I was like, I'm gonna play this Arizona Sunshine game. She's like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get the VR. And she's like, ooh, VR. And I'm like, yeah, no. And she's like, this is fun. We're sitting here playing games together. Do you have to put it on and go into another world next to me? Like, get that disconnected? I'm like, nah, all right, fine. So I put in Crash. Played through, I'll say 7 levels of Crash 1 in the first world or whatever,
Did you
right?
get to the first boss?
She didn't Crash 2.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't
Big dude.
No, I would have known. I
with
guess
the stick, then you're running in a circle, jumping over it. Okay.
no. Is he before 7 levels? Did I fuck that up?
It's right around there.
I did not get to that, but here's my thing: is I played through Crash 1, didn't get frustrated and quit, which is what always happened on PS1 Crash 1. PS1 Crash 1, I'd always play and like, why am I running at the camera? Fuck, I fell in the hole. I thought I made that jump, but I didn't make that jump. Fuck. This one, the controls for it, I was like, oh. These are manageable. I think the game's boring. I'm having a boring time running away from this boulder. Yeah, I'm having a boring time running away. How many fucking crates did I miss? Blah, blah, blah. But I was able to progress and keep going and not feel like I'm just getting fucked over. Then I came into work and I was like, it's more Crash. It's better than it's definitely making me go, oh, this isn't as bad as I make fun of Crash 1 on PS1 always being. And I'm like, but should I jump ahead? And you're like, yeah, play Crash 2. This morning before work, stopped and played 15 minutes of Crash 2. And I was like, oh, totally should have started here. This is way more fun. This is way more fun, more control over the character. I have a better grasp of what to do and what it wants me to do. I was like, oh, okay. It didn't even touch Crash 3.
Yeah.
Which I think I think in this trilogy, 3 is the worst.
So, okay, what's your history with Crash?
That is the game that got me into gaming. This is why I'm sitting here right now, is because a PlayStation kid, grew up Spyro and Crash. So I was through all of it. Like I played every game. I was obsessed as a little kid because I have an obsessive personality, I guess.
No.
So like, I had like a shrine of like all the games. Like I played everything, 100%ed every Crash game. On CTR, you can actually unlock Oxide.
Yeah.
I was one of the kids who
You're
did that.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was impossibly hard, but I did it as a kid. So very deep, vast history with the Bandicoot. So I do have like a ranking of everyone.
What was your ranking growing up, though?
The ranking for me always went 2, 3, 1. No, 2, 3. No, sorry. CTR 2.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, CTR.
Top.
God tier. Fucking God tier.
Best kart
But just
racer.
of the first 3.
Oh, okay. So it was 2, 3, 1.
Okay. Because growing up for me, it always went 3, 2, 1. Warped was my favorite. I loved it so much. I thought it was so cool. I loved all the vehicle stuff and everything about it. I'm just like, this is great.
Worst part
Now
of the
being an
game.
adult,
Yeah.
playing back,
Having refined tastes.
man, I honestly say that it goes 2, 1, 3.
Yeah. Well, I say even before the trilogy, I was still Warped was ahead of 1, but since they went back and fixed a lot of the issues with 1, it really changed it for me. And I'd say it's even like 2, like 1 right there.
Yeah, I agree with you there because actually no, I do think that 1 is not nearly as good as 2.
No, but I'm saying it's like right, like
Got it.
nipping at its heels.
So, because the thing is, biggest problem with 3 is there's way too much gimmicky shit that does not hold up at all. All the stuff that I thought was cool a long time ago because it was like, oh, it's changing up the gameplay. That was only cool because that was different back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's just like we want to stick to what the game is good at, right? And with the way that Crash 3 is set up, for every 5 levels, 2 of them are vehicle-based or gimmick-based. And the only ones that are fun to play are the Coco Tiger levels.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
the jet ski levels, frustrating as hell.
And the fucking motorcycle ones for Crash. I was about to throw my controller through my goddamn
That
TV.
second one.
Yeah.
It's impossibly hard.
The turns are like
Hairpin.
yeah, they're like 90-degree angle turns.
It's dumb. It's really stupid. And I don't understand how the rest of the game could feel so good and that feels so bad. But it's interesting playing them back to back to back because I've never done that. I've never sat and played all 3 games. And 1 is so poorly paced as a standalone game where the first 7 levels, I'd be surprised if you got to the first boss playing through, because some of those levels are very hard. Some of them are very easy. Some of them are very long. Some of them are very short. There's just no consistency with it. And there's no sense of progression in the game where all of the 3 Crash games jump between doing the run away from the camera, run towards the camera, or 2D side-scrolling stuff, right? And then, then there's a lot of 2D vertical ones, which are most prevalent in 1, and those suck. Jumping on the, like, bouncy crates to, like, get up, not precision at all. And, like, the 3rd level, like, makes you do that a lot. Yeah. And that is the point where I feel like a lot of people would give up. And that's why I think the Insane Trilogy fixed a lot of the issues because making the save system different, you can just need to worry on a level-by-level basis. It's no longer you have to beat 10 levels to get to the next save point, because that was such bullshit. It was so frustrating when you would lose your lives and off some stuff that you knew wasn't your fault. It's because the game was making you miss the jumps.
Yeah. And I think they did a really good job of fixing that first game, because the reason I like 1 so much now is it is a difficult game, and we don't get difficult games anymore. Like there are times like trying to get every box, because that's what in my review I mentioned it over on youtube.com/chiptoothgaming.
He's watched. He knows how to do it, guys. That's how you plug.
I mentioned that it's good to bring in people and for the hardcore too, because you could just run through and get the crystals, or you could just run through the level and finish. But getting the boxes is some of the most challenging platforming gaming I've done.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that from a very top level thing of do I recommend this game, I would say yes. For $40, totally worth getting into it, if only for the history lesson and to see what Crash Bandicoot is about. And 2 is legitimately a great game.
Amazing game.
1, I'm like, it has its pacing issues. I feel like there were a lot of really fun levels and a lot of great challenge to it. 3, the good is really good, but the bad is bad enough for me to be like, oh man, there's a lot of problems. But for $40, for the amount of content that you're getting, because you can just play through and there is the challenge of beating the level. But then there's the extra thing of getting all of the crates in each level. That's where the real difficulty
the death
spikes.
Routes.
And then the death routes
the
in
gem
2.
pads.
And that's why 2 is so much better, because it has it's the best of all of the different worlds of the games, where it's like, I feel it has the best 2D platforming. It has the best level design for 3D platforming. It has the best vehicle levels. It has the best pacing in terms of difficulty, and it has the best challenges and boss fights as well.
And I mean, there's secrets. Like playing that game, I forgot how deep it was. Like there's a secret warp room. On each level, there's like hidden pathways to get to the warp room to unlock the level to go back and then get the gem in that warp room. Like it's deep. And then there's like one of the favorite troll things that Naughty Dog did was showing you the colored gems as you're progressing through the level. So like on Snow Go and Crash Bandicoot 2, seeing the red gem at the high.
And you're like, how the fuck do I get it? And I love it because it promotes going back and playing the levels again. And what I didn't like about 3 is when you get at the end of each warp room or whatever the fuck, I don't even know what they call them, world.
Yeah.
In Crash Warped, you get a new ability, and I feel like the abilities just made the game
ruin it.
Broken.
Yeah.
Like you can eventually get the double jump, you can get the thing where you can spin.
Once you have the
longer.
bazooka gun,
you get
the challenge is gone.
It's like, all right, this game is
gone.
simple. Now it's just a matter of you versus the controls more than anything else. Whereas I feel 2 was really designed around clever jumps and clever uses of the environment to get where you needed to go. And if there was something that you saw and you couldn't get to it, it's because at that moment you're not thinking correctly. It's not because, at some point I'm going to come back and they'll have a new ability, you know?
Yeah. Well, even in Crash 1, Naughty Dog did such a good job back in the day of because you didn't know this stuff unless you read the manual, and no one read the manual. So that's why I liked the Vicarious Visions kind of unloading screens, putting like little hints on how to do it. But like on Crash 1, there's a couple times where you just see a trail of Wampa fruit going off into the sky. And if you just walk toward it, a path like reveals. It's like little things like that make the game so much deeper. And then on top of the death routes, getting past the level without dying to get on that, to get the boxes, because before you didn't know that, that's how you unlock them. And you get through the level and you're like, I missed 30 boxes? Like I got everything.
Where the fuck's the rest
these
of them?
boxes go?
Yeah, I also like that in this in the remastered version, the bonus levels don't count as lives, so you can repeat them as many times as you need to, because those are really challenging. And if you miss the boxes there, of which you're probably going to do it on your first try, because they purposefully trick you to jump on things that are going to disappear the next time you jump on them. And I like that now you can repeat the bonus rounds as many times as you need to get all the crates, to get the gem in each level.
Yeah, they did a brilliant job of like updating it for like people who don't want to kill themselves playing a game.
Yeah, no, that's really true. And honestly, I think that's the biggest credit to the game, is the fact that the Vicarious Visions really committed to this. This was remade from the ground up, and we all laughed when they first said that, because it was just like, there's no way. This is going to be just a remaster, and they're going to call it a day. They put so much care into making sure this felt exactly like the original games did, but fixing the things that needed fixing. The one gripe I have is that visually it looks awesome, and I love that it really looks like a Saturday morning cartoon. And forever people would talk about games looking like a Pixar movie.
It's Pixar come to life.
This looks like a Pixar
with the Ratchet and Clank game out.
Exactly, which is awesome. However, I still feel like this game lost a bit of the luster and visual uniqueness that the original games had, because the original ones had that kind of like gritty, dark feel to them, and this is super just bright and colorful and Looney Tunes
and
almost.
Even how like when the bosses come up and they talk, how they changed like the dialogue just ever so slightly. I was like, it feels wrong.
Yeah, like Ripperoo not having his stupid ass laugh.
That threw me off. And then like the scientist guys not having the Wilhelm screen.
Yeah, but I think that's all just licensing. Stuff like that.
I mean,
but I love how they got as many of the original voice actors as they could. I thought the soundtrack was fantastic. Like, it's the original, just updated.
I was worried about the voice actors at one point, because if you look through them, a lot of them are from Crash of the Titans, Crash Mine of the Moon. And I was like, I don't want anything to be related to that game at all. Yeah, I know. Well, he was in Twinsanity, which is like underrated.
Twinsanity is very underrated.
Underrated. That is a good game. You laugh out loud.
Twinsanity is arguably better than
3. Yeah, I agree with you.
But that's a story for a different day. But overall, I think that the game is fun, and I'm a little disappointed that the originals aren't unlockable. At least I haven't unlocked them, and I don't think that they're anywhere in there. But because I feel like that's something that they should do. You know,
tell me about the Uncharted references.
They're so few and far between, and it's not even a blink and you'll miss it thing. It's like if you're not looking, you'll miss it. There's when Coco is looking at her laptop, and I think it's the beginning of Crash 2.
Super meta.
On the beach. She's looking at a video of Elena and Drake playing Crash 1.
Gotcha.
There's that, and then there's
frame.
a picture of Nathan in
the Bandicoot household.
Yeah, just kind of there.
Okay,
So they're just subtle little things.
And so then for you guys, you're streaming for it, are you how is the platinum, or how are the platinums, and then are you thinking about going back for them?
The platinums are a challenge, but they're achievable. I honestly, for me, just looking at the trophy list, I'm like, this is what platinums for games should be. And the fact that it has 3, I'm not a trophy guy like that, but it does entice me to play these games more. I was never one of those people that went and got all the gems and the relics and all that. But the fact that they added relics to Crash 1 definitely makes me want to play it more. And the fact that the trophies, it's the breadcrumbs that give me extra challenges that I'm like, I've played these games a bazillion times, but
I never played them like this.
I never played them like this, and I want to. And the fact that they put the extra passion and care makes me want to give them more time.
It's a difficult platinum.
Yeah.
Well, not difficult. It's one of those ones where it's like you want to keep going. I think it's a fun one to just, like I said, put in like your phones and just kind of tune out. The time trials are super fun.
Okay.
Just running through the level.
Are the times like totally obscene, or are they like?
It's perfect. They're like doable. They're like tough.
Okay.
And that's why I like it.
You're gonna take shots at them over and over.
You're gonna get mad because you're gonna miss them a couple times.
Yeah.
But once you land it, it's probably the most satisfying thing.
Okay.
It's a fun platinum. It's 3 fun platinums, and that's what I'm excited about. Crash 1's gonna be a little hard just because the controls aren't all the way fixed.
Yeah.
I found myself using the D-pad on Crash 1
Me
a couple
too.
times.
Me too, which was really weird.
Only on some levels though. It wasn't all of them. Like Road to Nowhere and Slippery Climb.
the two fucking hardest levels.
Yeah.
See, but that's the thing is there's some things about the game, especially Crash
can't
1.
fix.
There was a lot of just enemies coming at you over and over where Crash 1 didn't focus on platforming enough because it was back in the early days when they didn't know what a 3D platformer was. So they were just like, all right, cool. We're just going to kind of mimic what Mario or Sonic did in 2D. My dude Sonic.
There's your dude.
And we're just going to, like, it's just going to be like the 3 Goombas come in Mario. That's fun.
What?
And then in,
The 3 Goombas come
like
in Mario?
a lot of the times the Goombas come in threes.
Come in
Do
Mario.
you see what I'm saying? Like they
No,
come
no,
in,
yeah,
they
yeah.
come in threes, where it's like you jump over them, like
He didn't.
Like erotic fiction.
like coming inside of Mario. Yeah, no, you're nasty. But they
I
did
say
that. There's a lot of times, especially in Crash 1, you don't see it in Crash 2 and 3, where there'll be like the turtles and there's like 3 that come at you, or the skunks and there's 3 that come at you, and they're not fun to jump around that. You just spin, hit one of them, and hope you kill the rest of them.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel the updated stuff made it easier? Like Crash 1 seemed so much easier. to me.
100%.
Okay.
But it's still frustrating because there's still a lot of level design issues in Crash 1.
It made it reasonable.
Okay.
So before on Crash 1, you miss a jump, you're like, this game is fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
this jump is off. Like, it just feels floaty and weird. They made it to where it's reasonable, where now it just takes skill. Like,
Okay.
you have to make that jump. You have
I
to
felt like
time
that was the
everything
thing
right.
with me in Crash 1 where, well, the first time I died on a jump running away from the boulder or whatever, I think. It was like, or no, it must have been earlier than that. But you know what I'm talking about, running away from anything and jumping over the thing. The first time I missed it, the second time I just held it longer. I was like, oh, okay. Whereas in Crash 1, I don't ever think I had that eureka moment where it was like in Crash 1, it was always like, I don't understand why I'm falling in this fucking hole.
I mean, the controls aren't literally just kind of added the analog support.
Yeah.
Like that is the biggest control fix that they did. They didn't actually like tweak any of it. The jump's the same as the jump was. The
Yeah.
speed's the same as the speed was.
It might be a
it
visual
feels
cue.
I think
different a
maybe,
little bit.
yeah. I think it is a visual cue more than anything, is just because everything's brighter.
Yeah,
So
and that's
you
a big part
kind
of it. Yeah.
And they route you a bit more. And I think with enemy design, the one thing that I think that made Crash 1 a lot easier now is the fact when you look at an enemy, you have a better understanding of how to beat him. Whereas in Crash 1, it was so
Blocky and
just polygons and
Yeah.
blocks.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not, is that fire
Yeah, is
on
that
his
a
head?
fire
Or is that a
ring, or-
hat? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, it's very clear because the graphics are so, where they're at. That it's like, all right, cool,
4K.
I understand. They are in 4K.
Beautiful 4K.
On the PlayStation 4 Pro, it looks great.
Yeah.
The loading, very bad in the beginning
What
of
is
the game.
up with having to sit through that vicarious vision screen every time?
Oh, see, that's
They
fucking
make you
awesome.
sit through it?
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
first
notice
time I did it, I was like, okay, no big deal. And then this morning I booted up, I was like, what the I
No.
can't skip this?
There's 2 things. One is when it goes to the loading screen before the actual menu comes up. That's fucking bullshit. And it takes way too long. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's been like 45 seconds each time. And I'm like, every single time to get into the games, that
Yeah.
should not be the case.
It's 2017. These games shouldn't be taking that long.
No,
load.
to get to the screen to choose which game I play.
Yeah, I
out
know
of the
that
3.
too. I mean,
that's
that's
a problem. But loading this game up and having it do the unskippable vicarious visions, like, and having it be Neocortex
Yeah, it's
doing
awesome.
from the studio.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking
Throwback.
It's a throwback thing, which I get pisses people off. But no, man, that shit is awesome.
Throw you back at fucking GameStop is what I say.
Oh, it's great. It is great. I love it. It got me so hyped when I turned it on and had that. But overall, I do really enjoy it. And I feel like we're hyping on a lot of the negatives. But in my opinion, there is a lot of negatives. Like, I think that it's important to realize that these games are relics stuck in a different time. But bringing them here, I feel like they're worth playing to at least know where things were. And I want to say that Crash 2 is a great game. From start to finish,
solid.
it's super awesome. The level design is great, and it's totally worth playing.
And this is one thing I'd say to you. I'd say at
Greg
least, Greg Miller, get to the second warp room in the second one and try to get the gems and
In
just
Crash 2?
see if you have fun. Yeah.
Okay.
And just try to get the gems.
Crash
get
2,
all the
I totally
boxes.
was, this morning I was like, oh, I'd play more of this.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
the boxes because I actually think that would be a fun platinum for you to grind out.
Oh,
The
okay.
only thing that would be annoying is the relics.
Okay.
Getting all the relics.
Relics are the time trials. Is
Gotcha,
when you have to get
gotcha.
it. Gems are when you just have to
Some
open
nerdy-
all the crates
some
in
nerdy
the
stuff.
level. So
You
that's-
wouldn't be able to live with yourself if I got all these platinums and you didn't, would you?
Oh,
You piece
yeah.
of garbage.
if you
Tim.
did it, I'd do it.
Oh, yeah?
I'd fucking do it. I mean, I'm considering it as I'm playing through, but it's kind of like what you're saying. Of like, I like the idea of just having something to do to just pop into.
Just grind out.
I wish it was on the Switch to do that, but then I wouldn't have trophies. This is like
Exactly. Yeah. Sophie's choice.
Sophie's choice, man.
Put on
a
Vita.
lot of issues here. That'd be great.
Every
It would be-
PS4 could be a PS
Nah,
Vita
shut
game
up.
with a remote.
Not when I'm on the goddamn airplane.
Anyway, let us know what you think about Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy in the comments below. We got some questions here about Crash. This is from Justin Washburn. With the upcoming release of Crash and Sane Trilogy, what do you guys think the odds are for a Crash Team Racing remake? Thanks for reading my question. P.S. Buy the damn trilogy.
Damn, save the coot.
I don't know. We've been talking about this a lot on the shows where it's like I do feel like if this game does well, we will see either Crash Team Racing, a new Crash game, or the Spyro Trilogy remastered.
Now, I think you're overlooking something here. The game is selling well. It's sold out on Amazon. Like today, it just got back in stock.
Good.
It was sold out all of June.
Good.
Sold out on Amazon US.
Keep
It was
buying
the
them.
number 2 best-selling item on Amazon Japan and number 3 in the UK.
Hell yeah.
The thing's selling.
So we got to keep it selling so that we can get one of these things. But do you think we'll get Crash Team Racing?
Yes, because I think these are the guys who did Crash Nitro Kart. Like they've done a Crash karting game that
like
was
Nitro Kart.
it was good. I liked
It
it.
wasn't Crash Team Racing though.
No, it wasn't. But I mean, what games are? I mean,
That's true, but I don't know about this. Like they did
Double
such a
Dash?
good job with this.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
Yeah. Double Dash, guys.
no.
Mod Nation Racer is the best kart racer of all time.
Mod-
Mod Nation Racers is good.
Thank you.
It is good. I'll
you.
give you that.
It's not Crash Team Racing.
I hope it happens because I'm more excited for that than I am this. I never played Crash Team Racing, and I love fucking kart racers. I would love them
think
to
you'll like
remaster
it a
and do
lot.
it.
You'd get down with it.
Yeah.
So I think it is more of a possibility than people are giving it credit for. But I do think that we would probably see a Spyro collection before the Crash. But that's another thing. Is that coming from Vicarious, or are they going to give that to another?
Yeah, I really don't know. From talking to Dan, the director of Crash and Sane Trilogy, anytime I bring up Crash Team Racing with him, which is often, like he never says no, and he definitely like leaves it open in a way that I'm like, you could have shut me down and you didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. There's definitely that.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Well, honestly, I want to see. Before I was very much like you going into this. I was like, all I want is just these 3 games, just up-res like this. After playing these and seeing how much detail and how much care they put into these games, I think we owe it to them to see them do their own.
That is.
And I trust them now.
I can't believe it because I actually agree with you
Yeah.
saying this. Where I never would have thought I'd want another Crash Bandicoot game. Like I'm like, just give me.
What? Really?
We
I've
got
been
it
saying that
before and they
forever.
were terrible.
It's like, dude, like they just don't work now, and that was weird. The lights did a weird thing come.
Yeah.
Crash 1 through 3. All I wanted was what they gave me, which is this remastered series for me to kind of have our experiences again, like the games that we remember.
It's a very slow Undertaker entrance. Like things
yeah.
are slowly turning off, and then he's gonna come out.
But I agree that I think that they did a good enough job with this, and it's obvious that they understand what makes Crash work, and it's also obvious that they didn't want to touch what was broken about it because that's what the games are, and they want people to play these as remakes. And I do think that they could do something interesting where like what Retro did with Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and Returns, where it's like, all right, people had issue with the original Donkey Kong Country games, but there was a lot of good there. We can make something better, and I feel like Crash could be good.
I think we owe it to them, like on how well they treated the series. So I'm putting my trust in them that if they were to do one, I would be 100% on board because of how they treated this. Just don't
do
give
the
me Crash
racing
the
game.
Titans.
Do the racing game.
Yeah, please do that.
Yeah, do the racing game.
I know
CTR
Crash the
first.
Titans is fucking
Yeah.
bullshit. All right, then the next thing, Icy Flames 96. Looking at Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, and Shadow of the Colossus doing remakes and remasters of old games that go far beyond your typical HD remaster. It's been a recent trend for Sony. Do you think this trend will continue in the foreseeable future? What games do you think Sony will rejuvenate next?
Huh.
I want more of it.
I want more.
Do you think it'll happen more? Do you think? Yeah.
I honestly think that if this game hits some certain level that I don't know what it is, but in Activision and Sony's mind, and I don't know where the partnerships and all that come in, but there is definitely somewhere people are looking and they're like, if it hits that bar, Spyro, hit the Spyro button. It's happening.
Yeah. What else would you want to see from PlayStation 1 catalog? Because I immediately jumped to Syphon Filter. Imagine, I mean, I'm not, again, it's the whole thing of not a HD remaster, a game
up.
from the ground up. Let's do Syphon Filter again, number 1. Ben's off doing Days Gone. We do it to these people over here. They get to go make it. I think there's still something to Syphon Filter, but it needs to either be rebooted super fucking hard or just at least come out looking like Metal
A
Gear 5.
nostalgia thing for it, where it's just kind of like, hey, if they did that, it wouldn't be the trilogy. I can see a Syphon Filter 1.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, it's just might as well just reboot it.
And I
do
feel
a
like that's
brand new
probably
game.
more
Yeah.
likely. I think that, hey, we know there's a connection to this name. You know, Splinter Cell's still doing it. Whatever the fuck Splinter Cell's doing, Metal Gear is not Metal Gear anymore.
Yeah.
There's a hole we could fill with Gabe Logan.
I feel
So
like
many holes.
I feel like Spyro and Crash are different in that I feel the same way about Spyro, where it's like I don't necessarily want a new Spyro game. I just want the old Spyro games again. And I think with Syphon Filters, I don't want the old Syphon Filter. I want a new Syphon Filter.
And that's the thing that would make sense, right? Like I think the PSP games were so good because they were their own thing and they were different.
I never played
whatever.
them.
They were awesome. They were both really good.
Well, Bubsy's back, so everything's off the table.
then there's
Anything
Bubsy.
can fucking come
Anything
back.
can happen.
Bubsy. All right, it's time to get into the next segment.
Cool
This
spot.
segment brought to you by Patreon producer Tom Bach.
What up, Tom
Please
Bach?
Bring
Shouts
back
out.
Cool Spot. We got to make that happen. To be real, Cool Spot sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Watch our Let's Play, youtube.com/kindfunnygames. That shit's bad.
Weren't you picking up bottles and shit?
Little bottle caps.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also shout out to the Patreon thank yous of the month. You guys supported us over on, but there's a lot of Patreon stuff in this
I know. I just
episode.
like that you do it the one time Kevin's not at his little thing. So now you're gonna have to remember
I don't know why you
3856.
ain't there.
Everyone,
But anyways,
if you're watching live on the YouTube chat, as one of the Patreon perks, make sure you spam that over and over again.
just
right
did
now.
the thank yous, Kev.
3830. Just spam it over and over and over and over and over and over. Oh, so maybe you're not watching on YouTube.
This segment is This Week in Gaming History, where I look back at different things that happened on the week of June 25th to 29th.
Okay.
Tim Gettys was more.
Or to June 30th, my birthday. 3 years ago, on June 26th, 2014, Shovel Knight came out on the 3DS, Wii U, and PC.
Wow. Question about Shovel Knight.
Yes.
Here's what I'll put out because you're a big Shovel Knight fan.
Love Shovel Knight.
Obviously, we like Yacht Club guys. They were always good to us. Colin was a huge fan. Is a huge fan. Colin's not dead. He's very much alive. Do you think they did it was stupid of them to put out these games, Plague Knight and the other night, as DLC? Because every time I talk to a Shovel Knight fan wrote into Games Daily when we for trophy time of like, if you want to point out why trophies are broken, another reason is the fact that these awesome full-fledged basically sequels to Shovel Knight came out and they get like 2 trophies because of the way it works as DLC.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have had more of a pop, more impact. Hey, we have another game for you if you love Shovel Knight.
the Plague Knight DLC was more similar to DLC than the Spectre Torment.
Spectre Torment
was.
I'm sorry.
Spectre Torment is just a full new game. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
So I think that could have benefited from being marketed that way. Whereas the Plague of Darkness, I think it was called. It was the Plague Knight DLC. Was just good DLC.
Yeah.
Here's a new character. There are differences to the game, like a lot of differences
Yeah.
that actually matter, and the gameplay is different. And we've changed the level design to play differently. But that just shows that Yacht Club cares. You know.
I hear you and I agree with you. It's awesome to see developers take care of their fan bases and make these things and build on these games, and I'm all for that. I just feel that with the other one, Spectre of Torment, which is a full-fledged game, blah, blah, blah. Let me dial it back. Marketing DLC and making the general public care about it, and I mean general video gaming public care about it, is impossible. No one's done it well. It just doesn't happen. This is what I talked about this past week already on Games Daily. Everyone is sleeping on Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. That is a full-fledged Uncharted. They are putting out another Uncharted, a little bit shorter, 10 hours they're saying, which will mean probably 8 or whatever. Yeah. But they're putting out a full-fledged fucking Uncharted, and nobody gives a rat's ass about it. You know what I mean? No E3 awards for it. It's not getting. It's like whatever. It's cool. It's more Uncharted. Whatever. Oh, you're doing this. You know, it's like that game's gonna come out and it's gonna for Uncharted fans. People are gonna be like, holy shit! When I talk to them about it, when they tell me stuff that's in this game, when I see the demo, when they get up there and they spin the camera around, I'm like,
It's Uncharted.
this doesn't look like DLC. I'm like, oh no, well, it's coming on a disc. It's doing these different things. It's got the whole Uncharted suite. I'm like.
I'm going to jump ahead a bit.
Okay, sorry, my
into
apologies.
our first user question of the day because it relates to this.
Okay.
This is from Strand van der Werf. Why will Uncharted release a standalone DLC and Horizon not? What's the benefit of having a non-standalone DLC? Why the different strategies?
Just don't even call them DLCs. Uncharted, I think, painted themselves in a corner, which they talk about every so often, kind of, in the way of like, hey, our season pass has story DLC to it. Then they start working on it, and it becomes this monster of a holy shit, this is like a real game. Awesome, they're still honoring it. They're selling it for $40, but if you have the season pass, you still get it that way. It is this question of though, what is the scope of that? How do you get people excited for it? I don't know how you deal with that. I think it's a little not apples to oranges, I guess, but I feel like the window, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who's watching, the window between Horizon and their DLC announcement was shorter, right? Horizon comes out in February. Here we are in the beginning of June, finding out about it. Uncharted was what? That was a video.
May. Came out in May.
Yeah, and then it was a VGA, or was it PSX? Well, I guess it doesn't matter either way. Game
PSX
Awards
is when we first saw it.
Yeah, so I guess not that much of a difference. A little bit longer. I don't know. I feel like the fact that Horizon is more of a meaty RPG. I think people spent more time in that world and are hungry for more quests to that world. Whereas Uncharted is a story-based narrative and it's over. When I'm done with it, I close it and I sell it back to GameStop, or I just put it on my shelf and don't think about it. So to get people re-motivated to go back to story DLC is different. In the same way Left Behind was different to get people into it. I just think that like even comparing Lost Legacy to Left Behind is at the detriment of what Lost Legacy is doing. Lost Legacy is a full fucking game. Like from everything I've heard, maybe I'll get it and it'll be 4 hours long and I'll be wrong. But I don't think that's what Naughty Dog has been selling, and I don't think that's what they'll do. And so that's the question of like, I hear you for Yacht Club games. We want to be great to our fans. I feel like though it's very similar to how our fans are, our audience is, right? Of we want to help you succeed. I think if Yacht Club was like, and I don't know what did they have a season pass? I don't know if that had been.
Well, I mean, it was if you bought the game, you had everything.
Yeah.
There wasn't, it was free.
I guess that's the whole thing. I think you should start shoehorning yourself.
Yacht Club games? Yeah, for Shovel Knight. If you bought Shovel Knight,
God, they're so awesome.
That's the thing. Their whole thing was like there's going to be a lot of DLC. There's going to be real substantial DLC, and it's all going to be free. Then what they ended up doing was they, and I'm going to get some of the names wrong on this, but they came up with something called like Treasure Trove. They gave names to each of the games, like even the original one, the original quest or whatever, and you could buy them as separate games going forward. So no longer if you buy the one, you get all. Now there's a package you buy that has the whole thing.
I just feel like some people are taking their games and acting, and this isn't an insult, I hope, acting like they're World of Warcraft, where, a Shovel Knight fan is so dialed in and so into it that they're going to be knowing that this DLC is there. No, you don't even know. I'm assuming you played Shovel Knight, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
for a
did.
Little bit, I didn't play it there, though.
Exactly. But you didn't know that you have access to all this DLC or all these different things. Whereas I think if they were to have been, and again, this is shoehorning yourself in. We want to be good to our community. There's a million different things to do here. I do think it would have been a smarter business decision. And then again, as somebody who likes Yacht Club games, I'm fine with it. Now, I'm not the hardcore community of like, I want the free stuff.
I agree with you completely. And I just think that the difference is there's a lot of learning going on in game development right now. And I think that Naughty Dog's a perfect example of they didn't expect Lost Legacy to be what it is. And they just now have to deal with the fact that it is. I'm sure that if they could have pumped out Nathan Drake or whatever, some story DLC for Uncharted 4 and been like, well, that's what you were getting. Now this is a full game, fucking pay for it. They would. Yeah. But just development wise and timing wise, especially on talent level that high, like you can't just turn something around like that. So they're stuck in the track that they're going. When it comes to Yacht Club, I think it was different where they just kept going and they had so much fun. And then eventually when it came to Plague Knight, they're like, we're just going to make this whole thing. And you're right that if they marketed that as just Shovel Knight 0 or Shovel Knight
Plague Knight,
like whatever they were doing, I feel like there would have had to have been a number in it to like really set the difference, because they did market it as a separate game that you could get all these different ways. But I think,
but then people are like, oh, that's it's just DLC.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like you needed the number there to make it feel like a different game, even if the number was 0, because it's a prequel. But what I think Yacht Club does, because you're saying like the fans that want to support them, I would argue that there is no modern game that was bought on more systems by the people that really care. Shovel Knight's the type of game that I own on like 3 different systems, you know, and I'm sure there's so many other people that did that, especially with the Nintendo Switch now, where it's like, I want to play it again, just because I can, you know, and just because, also the Plague Knight was early exclusive to Switch for a month. So there's things like that I'm sure the Yacht Club are going to rethink their strategy for the next thing they do. Yeah. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the reason that the rollout plan was what it was is because they were just working on this and their next thing is going to be different. And they didn't think that this was substantial enough to treat as its own release.
And hey, that's the thing. It's your business. It's your way to run it. I just worry about the fact that I feel like it's so hard to get coverage for a game as somebody who, worked in covered games for so long. Once your game's out, interest drops off so radically, unless you're a Minecraft or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about beyond the first few weeks where everybody's playing.
Proof that you're right about that is the fact that Shovel Knight, Plague of... I keep fucking up the name. Plague of Torment?
No. Shadow Torment.
Spectre of Torment. Spectre Torment. Spectre Torment came out. That's the one that I love. And it came out exclusively on the Switch for, I think, a month. And this was within days of the Switch launching.
Yeah.
And it didn't get reviewed on GameSpot, didn't get reviewed on IGN until later. And I'm like, the fact that there was nothing on the Switch at that point except Zelda.
Yeah.
And it still didn't get mainstream press coverage, that means that even those guys don't understand that this is a
and that's the thing, they're
big
trying to
enough
wrap
game.
your messaging around that, and that's what Uncharted's facing too, where they have to try to bang the drum and express to people like, no, this is bigger than story DLC. You can get it in store, blah blah. It's just like a can of worms.
5 years ago, on June 26, 2012, Spec Ops: The Line came out.
Ooh,
on
Wall
PS3
Williams, what
and
up?
Xbox 360.
What a game.
See,
Great
5
game.
years ago, that sounds right to me for Spec Ops.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was even
That's 5
longer
years?
ago.
Yeah, that felt like.
Whereas Shovel Knight 3 years ago, I'm like, ooh, that's weird. That sounds like a long time.
It feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? Yeah.
13 years ago, on June 28th, 2004, Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
came out on the PlayStation 2, and that was a game changer. The first time open world Spidey, and it felt right. The first Spider-Man game on PS2,
No.
awful,
Very
garbage.
bad. Very,
The
very
camera
bad.
on the inside.
I was a dumb kid though.
Really?
Yeah, I was a dumb kid.
The movie one.
I haven't gone back. Yeah, I haven't gone back.
Where
and played it
you
since
fight
then.
Green Goblin in like the burning house or whatever at the end. It's like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man 2, man, Jesus. Spider-Man 2 so good. I bought it, played through it, loved it, got the kid the balloon the million fucking times and all that shit. Sold it, went out to Maryland for a summer, and was like, fuck, I went out and bought Spider-Man 2 again.
Oh my
just to play
God.
more Spider-Man 2. It was like that good. And I was like, fuck.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very special game.
Yeah.
And I love that the people making Spider-Man on PS4 now are in love with that game as well.
course, yeah.
In love with what made that game
Well, it's just
special.
so weird that like they had it and like it was so hard to ever catch that again. I remember Spider-Man 3 coming out. I was so excited to review it for IGN because I was
Kev
like,
loved it.
I was like, hey man, like I'm sure it'll be like Spider-Man 2 and like the story will be shit, but I'm like, no, this game's just bad all over. It's just not good. And even Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't bad, but it wasn't the same either, which is the problem. You know what I mean?
It was just smaller.
Yeah, it was.
But it was
smaller.
canon.
It was. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
17 years ago, on June 26, 2000, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards came out on the N64. I remember being so excited for that game. This is one of the first games that I like kind of looked at. I'm like, all right, there's a release date. I'm counting down the days.
Sure.
It's going to come. And then it happened. And I remember beating it in like one sitting and being like, that's it? Oh, man.
And that's when you learned hate.
No, I enjoyed it, but that was when I learned what a good game was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We all have that
I was
game.
like, oh man, this is one of the. I think it might have been the first time I played a new release that I was like, oh, I don't just love this. Video games aren't always pure magic.
Sure.
There's some
Sometimes it's stealing your money.
mediocrity in there. 17 years ago on June 29th, 2000, Diablo 2
Ooh.
came out on PC. 17
David
years.
Brevik, what up? Yeah.
What a long time. I remember I never got into the PC game and stuff.
PC dork.
Couldn't
Of course
do
not.
it.
Yeah. You didn't want to play Excel. all day.
But my neighbor that lived across the street, we'd always go to his house, and his older brother was obsessed with these things.
Sure.
And I remember
He had long
Diablo
hair,
2 was like the
glasses.
he didn't. He had a little buzz cut, but he
Oily.
loved it so much and would try to sell me on Diablo 2. And like that was when I realized people can get addicted to video games.
Sure. Sure.
A lot of realizations, man. We're going back in time. This is a little history lesson for you, Kev. 18 years ago on my birthday, June 30th, 1999, a lot happened.
June 30th.
Drive
1999.
came out on PlayStation. Driver.
I was like, I don't even remember Drive.
Sorry.
Fuck.
Driver. One
Driver. Hell yeah.
On PlayStation.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And then on the Nintendo 64, Pokemon Snap and Mario Golf.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
Great
What a
game.
fucking day. God damn.
I remember that day I rented both games.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. I was like, I must have been just first in line or whatever because they never let you do that.
Yeah.
There always, all the copies would be out of the new game. You have to wait and shit. Nah. Pokemon Snap, played the hell out of it. Not much there, if I'm being honest with you.
But you
Looking
loved it.
back.
You had
I loved
fun.
it. I did love it. I still do love it. But like all the people, oh man, we want a new Pokemon Snap. No, you don't.
They were dumb kids when they played it,
They were.
and if they went back to it now, they probably wouldn't enjoy it.
There's a way to make it cool, though. There's a way to make a. I mean, Pokemon Go should have just been Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, it coming out on the Virtual Console on the Wii U a couple months back. I played it for a bit. I'm just like, man, like it's a great game when you're trying to 100% it.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of fun to be had there. But otherwise, it's like, man, this isn't really a game.
Yeah.
But then Mario Golf, yeah, got down on that. And then you with Mr. Toadstool Tour.
Yeah.
One day, that'll make it to this here Gamescast.
I can't wait for
This Week's
Toadstool
Gaming
Tour to
History.
come up there. I can't wait for whatever Mario Golf comes to the Switch next. I can't wait for everybody's golf. What up, August? Can't wait. I booked an all-day stream, by the way. when everybody's golf comes to PlayStation 4.
Play as Shuhei Yoshida.
Exactly. Yeah, they better fucking keep that in there.
And then 19 years ago, on June 29th, 1998, Banjo-Kazooie first came.
Oh,
on the Nintendo 64.
little Marty Sleeva, so
Yeah,
excited.
loves it so
Still
much.
had a beard.
So that's a good segue to our topic of the show.
Tots. It wasn't Crash, huh?
Well, I mean, that's
It's related.
what I'm going to headline as this.
Okay, yeah, of course.
But
Well,
yeah,
yeah, that's what the kids want from you.
The topic of the show for this, there's a lot of questions I saw that had a common theme, and that theme is platformers. So we had Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie's there, Mario Odyssey, Sonic Mania, Crash Bandicoot, and Bubsy.
The year
Are
of the
platformers
platformer.
back? Jokeskis wants to know.
Yes,
Honestly, with platformers being one of my favorite genres, if not my favorite genre,
agreed.
this is the best year that I've had in a long time for video games. Getting all of these, like Crash, exactly what I wanted. I knew what it was. I didn't expect it to be a 10 out of 10. Mario Odyssey, from what we played, seems to be
Mario Odyssey's dope as fuck.
a 3D open world Mario that we haven't got since 2001, and that blows my mind. Bubsy couldn't give a fuck less. That's trash. But Sonic Mania, damn, that game is going to be so good. So good.
Yeah.
That game is what we were talking about earlier with Crash about not wanting a new one. This Sonic is that new one of the people caring, and it's going to be better than any. I'm calling it now. It's going to be the best Sonic game ever made.
Wow.
And I think that's an easy.
Well, that's because there's no good Sonic game.
Yeah. Do you like any Sonic game?
No,
None.
no.
Have you played?
Yes, I have.
Oh my god.
Trash.
And you
Garbage.
like Crash?
Yes. They're not the same game. Don't even put them on the same pedestal here.
I mean, you're right. Like I would say that there's Sonic games better than the Crash
No,
games.
there's no way.
This is all starting to make sense. How could this 12-year-old afford to come on this show? Colin Moriarty isn't here to talk shit about Sonic anymore and suddenly has money.
Yeah,
Coincidence? Coincidence?
Hold me back. Oh my god. No, honestly, I do think that platformers this year in 2017 are seeing resurgence that we haven't seen ever.
A Hat in Time I'm putting out there too.
And yeah, exactly, things like that, and ukulele as well. Like
Yeah.
even so, they're not all hits necessarily,
But even Ukulele was good.
Yeah.
Like it was a good game.
but not a great game.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think that Sonic's going to be the first good 2D one, and then obviously Mario's going to come through and clean house at the end of the year.
Goddamn Mario.
I think people are realizing that there is space for these platformers in 2017 and the
That place
space
is
where
the Switch.
because they're not there. Like they just didn't exist. Like from the PS2, the PS3, they just went away. Other than the Mario games,
And Ratchet and Clank, but even that's a little bit different because that's not a platform.
Yeah, it's not platform.
It's more just like action fun.
And I'm excited because I'm like you. Like this is probably my favorite genre of games, and because it's something fun that it's not this story-based thing. It's not like this serious thing. It's something you could just kind of turn off your mind and just kind of go and
Yeah,
just.
gameplay and challenge, man. I'm all about it. And that's why Shovel Knight was so fun to me, is that it did things right. And Sonic Mania reminds me of that in a lot of ways, where it's just like all the good about it, none of the bad, and let's just keep moving
You
forward.
forgot Super Lucky's Tale on the Xbox One.
There
X.
is Super Lucky. I'm not even going to touch that. It looks.
It looks. It's on the border of
bad.
it's almost too kid.
Yeah.
Did you play it? Was it playable on the?
I don't
PlayStation 4?
know if it was.
Yeah, I was playable there. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but no. I did not
Is
get
this
into
just you think a byproduct of the cycle of everything, and like nostalgia for this is what people have been missing? People have been missing a platformer. Ukulele obviously found an audience on Kickstarter. Mario is going to be Mario, but we're also stoked that a true Mario is back.
I mean, I think that the Mario thing you just brought up is very important because I feel like there's a lot of jaded games journalists that have looked at Mario the last couple of years and not really had many nice things to say. I think people wrote off 3D World
It was good.
way too hard because it's great. 3D World is
I love 3D
fucking
World.
fantastic. However, it's not the same style as 64 or even Galaxy, and I think that turned a lot of people off. So they're all jumping back on with Odyssey. But I think that Odyssey is interesting where even for me as someone that loves it, having played it, I'm totally in. I know this is going to be one of my game of the years. Guarantee it. However, I feel the same way playing it at E3 that I did about Breath of the Wild. When I played Breath of the Wild last year at E3, I was like, I don't know. This isn't perfect to me. And I feel the same way about Odyssey, where it's like the gimmick of this game is being able to control the other things. I don't know that that's exactly what I want. But I'll leave that up to Nintendo to tell me I'm fucking wrong and slap me in the face.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
With Mario's hat, Cappy.
Cappy. You think there's going to be a twist? Is Cappy a bad guy?
It's Ghost.
Yeah, Camp's definitely that.
You think? You see those eyes?
Yeah.
Because my thing is he has the same eyes as those bunnies. Those bunnies look like bad guys
Can't trust those bunnies.
Bunnies.
in the trailer for Odyssey.
He's possessing people as a hat. Yeah, and that is an interesting thing. It just seems like no, it won't
Nintendo
be.
said it was not possessing.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I like that. I think it was Nick Robinson who put out the fake quotes of just like, he asking, like, is it killing people when it takes over their body? Nintendo, yes. Is it painful? Incredibly.
That's so fucking funny. Carlsabeth says, after seeing more Mario Odyssey at this year's E3, what are your thoughts on the real people to Mario character aesthetic? Also, do you think this game will capture audiences with the same world creativity that Super Mario 64 did, or will it fall flat in comparison?
I've never been weirded out by the real people.
I think people are making...
We made a lot of jokes about it when the trailer, but like running around New Donk City and doing it, it's like... It makes sense because they're blending into the background. They're not like, with the exception of like the music guy on top of the fucking thing you needed to find. Like, they're just there. They're not the focus. Mario's the focus. I didn't think it looked weird.
I think there's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth because of the 3D Sonic games having that aesthetic, and those were trash. So it's just like, oh, that reminds me of Sonic 06 or Sonic Adventure or whatever, and it is bad. But yeah, playing through it, they do blend in. So it's like, that's not really the focus. And I like that it's super different. Seeing the T-Rex is like, what the fuck? How is this Mario? But I feel like it's that type of what the fuck questioning that needs to go into a Mario game, or else they're not doing it right.
Well, people said that about Galaxy, Sunshine.
Yeah, all of them.
No, they're right about Sunshine. Somebody should have questioned that early on.
Well, Sunshine had a lot of issues, but oh man.
Yo, why is he hanging out with all these melted ice cream people with a fucking water pack on? I don't know. Ship it. I'm Miyamoto.
I don't have any issues with that at all. Recently on NeoGAF, there was a thread that was like, what is the worst level in Super Mario history? And it turned into a big fight between between a handful of levels. That the same ones kept getting brought up. But it was just funny that like all 10 of the levels being brought up were from Sunshine. Or not 10. That's an exaggeration because there wasn't even 10 levels in Sunshine. But that's because they're open world games.
Yeah.
Like there's just not that many levels in these games because it's more about collectathons and shit within them. That's what I'm interested about Odyssey, is that I wonder where it's going to fall. Because with the Galaxy games, there were so many levels with fewer challenges in them. And then with Mario 64, 14 levels across the whole thing. Sunshine, I think there was 6 or 7 levels. With this, we've already heard of 6 levels. So that makes me think there is going to be a fair amount more.
I bet there's more, but I think it's going to be chock full of stuff. I mean, what did they say? It's something like 30 to 40
moons per level.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing of, I think you'll get a dozen levels, you think? You think they got 6 more up there in their sleeve?
Yeah.
Up in Cappy.
Right. But I'm loving the creativity going to the levels so far. Like I love that they all look super different, and it doesn't all fall back on the normal tropes of here's the underwater world and here's the ice world, whatever. Sure. And even when it is the desert, there's still some weird shit going on, like where it's like an ice desert. It's like, why is there ice here? Why is he cold? That don't make no sense. I love the way that they're integrating the 2D into the 3D this time, where it turns you into the retro aesthetic, like old school.
When you're on the wall,
shit,
it's awesome.
Because the 2D levels in Mario Galaxy 2 were so good, where it played with the gravity, and we even saw this in the demo they showed in Mario Odyssey, where it does have some of those platforming bits where where it fucks with your gravity, and I'm like, man, good. Keep going. Doesn't need to make sense. Just make the gameplay fun. But yeah, I worry about some of the character possession stuff of those gimmicks not being fun to control. But I hope that I'm very wrong about that.
They're usually pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then with all these platformers coming out, going back to the question of are they coming back? I mean, these games are going to hit. Like, it seems like they're hitting, like especially with Crash and the response they're getting. I think we're just on the tip of the iceberg. I mean, do you think we're going to get another Donkey Kong game from Retro? Like, is that what they're working on?
I don't think they're working on another Donkey Kong game. I think that we will get one, just not from Retro. Or another theory I have is that I didn't talk about on Games Daily today, is that Retro's working on 2 games. And if they were working on 2 games, I think it's an easy answer to say, yes, they're working on a new IP and another 2D Donkey Kong game. Yeah. I think it's also more likely that we'll see Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze make its way over to the Switch.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I hope
people need to play that
I missed
game.
it, and it looks like a phenomenal game.
It's so damn good. So, and I feel like it'd be right at home on the Switch, and I think that more people would enjoy it a lot. Going back to Odyssey, though, I like that Captain Toad's in it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get some more.
Fuck yeah, bring me back Captain Toad. I want
Shots
to Captain
Toad.
Just pour it over Treasure Tracker. It's fine.
But I'm to go off what you're saying, it's all right, will they bring back Donkey Kong? I don't think we'll see a Donkey Kong 64, like a sequel to the 3D ones. Yeah. We don't need one.
Yeah.
Sonic Forces, I played it, and it was a lot of fun at E3. And it reminded me of Generations, which is my favorite Sonic game in a long time. So I don't know that we'll ever see another new 3D platformer make its way into the fray. Like with a new character or whatever. And I don't think that we need it.
Super
Ukulele
Lucky's Tale.
No, fuck that, man.
It's back.
No.
No, but the ball is going to get rolling, and especially if that new Donkey Kong game, like we talked about before with the Spyro collection, I think we are going to start seeing these things get cranked out.
More and more. But that's the problem is only the first wave going to hit?
That's true.
Because it's like, all right, cool.
Does it have longevity?
They did it with Crash. They're doing it with Sonic Mania. And then it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
but then by the
well,
time
yeah.
we get to Spyro, will there be the audience? I do think there's the audience for Spyro.
There is.
I don't think there's an audience for Bubsy. I don't think there's an audience for when you start getting into like the more like Toomba or Gex, the Gecko. Although
Shout out to Gex.
Gex could come back.
Gex doesn't need to come back.
He does need to come back.
We need
I
to
want
stop
him to
his
be like
point.
If Bubsy's back, Gex is coming
If
back.
anybody
character.
needs to come back, it's Bonk.
Oh,
Bring back Bonk.
Bring back Bonk. I like that alliteration. All right, now it's time for the audience Q&A section of the show. You can go to kindafunny.com/gamescast and leave your question, just like a lot of these beautiful people did. Mark Luscombi wants to know, do you think Microsoft can ever get back to rivaling Sony for first-party games and/or console exclusives ever again?
Of course.
And secondly,
Oh, sorry.
do we need some dictionary definitions of all the new types of exclusives?
Yes.
Console/time/launch, etc.
Yes. Yeah, I totally think Xbox can get back in the race and vie for number one. I don't think it happens till Xbox 5, whatever the next cycle is that really begins. I think that's what I'm after watching, this E3, after people wondering where this exclusive is, what this studio is doing, I think that's what they're doing. I think that they're pulling a similar Nintendo Wii U move of like, all right, cool, like everybody bite down. We're going to continue to take it on our chin right now as Xbox One/Xbox One X. And while we do that, we're going to take Halo and we're going to take the games. We're going to take all these different people and have them start working on what will be the Xbox 2 game. What's going to be the next gen version of this, so that at launch we can come out and be like, hey, here's all these games you're getting in the first year. Here's what other people are working on. We have a slate. We have exclusives. We have this. And we have the goodwill of this Xbox community that has stuck it out and enjoyed Games Pass and enjoyed all these discounts and enjoyed what we have done with Xbox One X.
What Sony did with the PS3 and the
100%.
PS3 era when 360 was in the lead, coming back, and then all of a sudden PS4 is announced, and oh yeah, every single one of our first party studios is working on a PS4
Exactly.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now we're seeing them like get cranked
Exactly.
out.
Back to back. My thing is, it's a controversial statement, but I don't think Xbox has ever rivaled Sony in its first party offering, and I don't think that it ever will. But I don't think that's what makes Xbox special.
Sure.
I think Xbox and 360 especially worked because it did have a couple of the first party titles, but really it was about the third party. It was about the partnerships, and it was about the online infrastructure that they had, and that became the go-to system to play with your friends. And that was what that era was all about, is playing with your friends online and having communities and having the shooters to play, which were either Halo, but more Call of Duty. And that's why I think that they won. But leave Xbox, the original Xbox 360, and then Xbox One, I think if you compare them to where PlayStation was at, whether it's PS2, PS3, or PS4, I think that PlayStation always had a stronger exclusive lineup.
Well, it's not so much the lineup of games, but the power and the force that those games have.
Mind share.
Yeah, in terms of sales. Like when you and Colin were at IGN back in 2011, and remember when Sony did every month basically an exclusive game, and I forgot who the bet was, but he said Jim Riley that.
He's like, all of those PlayStation exclusives won't sell as much as Gears.
Gears of War, it was Gears of War.
And I was like, I'll take that. Because there was an Uncharted in there. I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah, and
bet.
they did.
And he fucking, Gears ran away with that. And like, not even close if I remember. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. No, that is a good point.
So I just think they have to retool.
Yeah.
I think we're worn out on these franchises they have. So I think they're going back to the drawing board and they're retooling to come back with more heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what, and it'll be the same thing where it's funny when we talk about, PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, right? Like PlayStation reboots itself at that February event for the PlayStation 4, where they come out and we're all about gamers. Here's the system. It'll be easier to develop for. Here are all these indies, blah, 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 right? That wasn't groundwork they had laid. They hadn't become the PlayStation 4 we're all about gamers people yet until that day. Whereas with Xbox, it can be the thing of they come out and they have a great E3, we'll say, in 2 years when they announce this thing or whatever, their Xbox whatever event, they announce this thing, and suddenly not only are you activating me, who's like, oh wow, that's a great slate of games, I'm interested, you're then activating all the Xbox faithful who've stuck with it in a very similar fashion to what we did when we did Beyond and stuck with PlayStation through that thing. Now granted, it was my job to stick with PlayStation, but stick with it and be like, hey, no, this is why PlayStation 3 is great. Here are all these awesome exclusives. Here's all this different stuff. And suddenly you have evangelists, and it'll be the same thing here if that's what they're doing, where all of a sudden, what are you talking about? You have X hundred backwards compatible games right now. You have the games library that you're able to go do this thing for. Like, there's enough thing here, that enough smart decisions they've made that are pro gamer that you're going to sit there and go, oh, fuck, man, that is really interesting. Maybe next generations when I switch over.
It's the pendulum.
Yeah, exactly.
Swing back and forth. But do you see Xbox buying more studios? Like, do you see them acquiring or building more studios?
I kind of feel like they have to if they want to have first-party games and console exclusives.
But do they care about that?
And that's why I don't think that they do, and I don't think that they ever have. Because my thing is, when you look at it, and the easiest answer is, if Xbox were to make a Smash Bros. Game, who would be in it? There's not,
Master Chief,
you know,
Gears,
and it's like even
Quantum Break,
PlayStation
dude.
The other Master
struggled
Chief.
with Battle Royale, but a lot of that was licensing issue stuff. You know, because they couldn't get a lot of things that
So
defined
close.
what.
We were so close.
So close.
So
We
close.
could. Oh man, one day.
Go with
one day.
100%.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying though? It's just like
No,
when
I
it
hear
comes
you,
to
I hear
Xbox, it's like they had their had at least their heavy hitters that sold, Gears and Halo. Those things are going to sell ridiculous amounts.
Well, Left
but
4
as
Dead.
the years goes on, those sell less and less and less. So I don't know. Next question comes from Reverse Flash.
Oh, no.
What do you think of Reggie's comments at E3 that Nintendo has plans to support the 3DS beyond 2018?
I think he wants to sell 3DSs in the holiday 2017.
With the most recent announcements of Metroid, Samus Returns, and Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga being remade for the system, if they can keep quality games like this coming, I think it's good news as long as Nintendo keeps a steady flow of both good games coming for both Switch and 3DS. I mean, Nintendo has done this every generation, where they keep putting out games after the last thing ended it. Sony does it as well, too, with God of War 2 coming out after PlayStation
PS2.
3 came out. It's like it just makes sense because of the install base. 3DS has a great install base. They are still selling games by the millions.
And they just announced a new, not just, but
And then the
recently
2DS.
announced a new 2DS. Right?
Yeah, so they're going to keep going. But beyond,
markets is
beyond
what it comes down to.
2018,
Yeah.
I don't see them ending that or like going with that in a hard way. How hard they're going on 3DS, I would have never bet on it going into the January event this year where they're talking about Switch. I'm like, man, they're making the shift over. And it's like, that was a bad call on my part where it's like, no shit, they're not giving up on it. Of course, Pokemon Stars is just coming 3DS. It's business. They're trying to make the money, hopefully, to then fund all the Switch games in 2019 onward. I'd be surprised if we'd see a major 3DS game get announced in 2018.
I agree. Well, I think it's going to go the way of like the Game Boy Micro when they released the Game Boy Micro with the 3DS, and just to see if like, oh, this bombs, then we have at least our like core thing. I think it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
They're going to ditch the 3DS.
And then our final question of the day comes from Sean Clarkin.
Oh.
After a month of funding, Project Rap Rabbit failed to reach 20% of its Kickstarter goal. The cynic in me finds it hard to believe that such a niche title with a lack of any tangible gameplay footage ever had a chance of raising over $1 million. However, the latest update from the devs on their Kickstarter states, we had a very, very busy E3 filled with meetings about our vision. And thanks in part to your overwhelming support, we know that our vision for Project Rap Rabbit hasn't gone unnoticed. Do you guys think that Kickstarter is being used by some developers to simply advertise a project with the intention being to bring a publisher on board once the funding fails? I know this might sound like some crazy conspiracy theory bullshit, but hear me out. Do devs really want the burden of fulfilling sometimes unrealistic promised stretch goals and ultimately shitting the bed, Mighty Number 9 style? This way, Project Rabbit has had a ton of publicity, gained interest from investors, if you believe their latest post, and most importantly, made it onto the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show.
Did we talk about it? I don't remember talking about it. Oh, no. Well, I mean, are people, I think overcomplicating it. Like, he's like, you know, are they using it as advertising to get picked up by, when they fail to get picked up? No, they're using it as advertising to get picked up by a publisher when they succeed. How many Kickstarters have been launched to say, we're this game, we're independent. Oh, well, we're signing up and we're going to go be published by Deep Silver or whoever. Because they got a good, and it's like, no, I'm not like angry. Well, I didn't give you the money, so I'm not angry. Even Iga's doing it with Bloodstained, right? And I'm not sure what the wording was on that, but it happens all the time where I'm making a game on Kickstarter and I'm gonna thank you for your money, and now we're gonna go be the publisher. Da da da. I mean, that's the business side of it, and it's been going on forever. So there's case by case there, I know, is being judged differently, but there is a proven track record that you can do that, and the community doesn't rebel and go crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily believe them that a lot of investors are super into it, but again, there's a Bubsy game. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Whatever idea you
anything
want.
is possible in 2017.
I think these crowdfunded games need to go. Like, I just think that if you make a good like prototype of a game or a good game, it will get noticed and will get picked up. Like funding these games, there's a reason they're not getting funded. I don't think it's because they're being overlooked. I just think because they're not. The vision's not all the way there.
And they're not the caliber they need to be to make that kind of splash, right? The world has changed since when Double Fine did this.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, when they were the only people to do it, you're like, what the I mean, how many others have we seen? Dennis Dyack, all these different people come out and do this, and just they can't get it together. It can't happen. But I mean, like, Friday the 13th happened, and that wasn't too long ago. Like, it's definitely, it's flooded. Exactly. The market is flooded with people doing this. But yeah, if it is this thing of like, the market is, what annoys me is that the reason people were going to Kickstarter was, all right, well, our audience is so small that they'll support this idea, right? You talked to Tim, that was his original idea of it. Like, no publisher wants to fund a true point and click adventure game anymore, right? So we're going to go to the fans who want this and say, put up or shut up, and the fans put up. You're now getting it where our market is this and it should be this, and like the market is so small or the audience is so discerning, they're like, we're not going to give you the $1 million. Okay, and then they're going back, and now it's going back channeling it the other way, right? Where now I'm taking that, well, I didn't make it with these kids, but you can see that there is an audience interested. Well, yeah, it's an audience that wasn't interested enough to give you the $1 million you needed or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting thing where it is just parappa the rappa, and what we're talking about earlier with the 3D platform, or even just platformers in general. It's just like, yeah, there is an interest, but publishers need to gauge that interest based on what's there. Yeah. So them looking at the whatever was funded, 250,000 or 200,000, and just being like, all right, cool, that's how much interest is there. Is there any value to us putting even that much into it? Like, can we get more? Is our marketing team gonna like get this in front of more people? And the fact that Sony put out Parappa the remaster recently, and it's just like there's a lot of issues with it.
Hard sells.
People don't really like it. Yeah, it is a hard sell, and
all the problems with Parappa 1 were still there. Like,
exactly. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's why I support Patapon, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
When's that coming out? Do we have a release date for that?
No, summerish. They all keep saying. Yeah.
That's sometime. Well, anyways. That has been Kind of Funny Gamescast, number 125. Thank you very much for watching, however you are watching, and thank you for your support, whether you support us financially or not. We're just happy that you're there. Now, Cheeks, Double D, Doherty.
What's going on, Tim?
Thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Thank you for being part of Kind of Funny Live. You fucking killed it.
Thank you. I bombed in rehearsals. I thought that was going to be terrible.
No, you did. You
I
did
was
great.
like, oh God, this is going down. Greg pulled me aside and he's like, don't fuck this up.
I was like, it's a big night for us. Please don't fuck it up.
That's just Greg being Greg. Where can people find you?
They can find me over at youtube.com/chiptoothgaming. And actually, since I got the Crash Bandicoot early, I'm giving away a copy of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So go subscribe, comment in the review of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Because you did a full review of it too.
Yeah, I did a full review, IGN style. Go leave a comment there, subscribe, and you will be entered to win. And I'll send it anywhere.
So it's IGN style. How much do they pay you off?
JK. We will see you next week. Thank you. Till next time. Boy. I like this guy. Hey, what's up, guys? You can click right there to subscribe to youtube.com/kindoffunny. Click right there to subscribe to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Or you can click right there to support us on Patreon. You can watch the shows early, live. It's a fun time. Do it.